Thank you, Lee. He believed with all his might that music and song was a key to peace and ending war. Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary died this morning here in New York City, a fixture here on the Upper West Side of Manhattan and a profound symbol of spreading both music and peace to several generations of people here and around the world for more than 65 years. Well, I gotta have Peter Yarrow was the big force of one of the most popular music groups in the country. For so many people, Peter, Paul, and Mary were more often than not the first group folks saw in concert. I know, I was one of them. Peter Yarrow, Paul Stuckey, and Mary Travers took the music of Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger and then turned it into songs that turned on a new generation. And they also helped give birth to a songwriter-singer who would, in the near future, become arguably the best songwriter in music history, Bob Dylan. How many times must the cannonballs fly? The first songs of Bob Dylan were brought to the public by Peter, Paul, and Mary. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. That was Dylan's song, but it was made popular by Peter, Paul, and Mary, who made it a kind of civil rights anthem when they sang it at the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech in Washington in the summer of 1963.
Nothing compares to singing at that march in 1963 and singing Blowing in the Wind.
In the years that followed, Peter and the troika that was Peter, Paul, and Mary traveled the country and indeed the world, playing for peace and against wars, especially the war in Vietnam. Over the years, the group was hugely successful, 12 times in the Billboard Top 40, with 6 of those songs in the top 10. Sometimes, like they did with Bob Dylan, they made other singer-songwriters shine, like they did with the song John Denver wrote and recorded. Peter Yarrow was born in Manhattan, the son of Jewish immigrants from Ukraine. His dad was a lawyer who later worked for Radio Free Europe. Peter went to high school at what is now LaGuardia High, focusing on music. And then he went to Cornell, where he started playing guitar and singing mostly folk music. He would later come to the Greenwich Village music scene, where he made a name for himself, and then later for the group he helped form, Peter, Paul, and Mary. Where have all the flowers gone? They were huge, bent on peace and very much against violence and the war.
When the people stand together and speak up, they can turn the course of history.
There was one public blemish in his life, pleading guilty to what was called indecent liberties with a teenage girl. President Carter later gave him a pardon. Mary died in 2009, and Peter and Paul kept playing, still focused on peace. Peter was an activist, and in 2000, he founded Operation Respect to fight school bullying. We were lucky to have him play here at Channel 7 in 2016 at our annual Winter Holiday Fiesta, where he sang Puff the Magic Dragon with my daughter, Ella. Peter never gave up, ever. Even when bladder cancer took over 4 years ago, he remained tough till the very end. Peter Yarrow was 86 and always filled with life and love. As he told his daughter Bethany during these last few weeks, the most important thing he taught us was how to love. He was quite a guy. I was lucky enough to meet him 20 years ago, and we became friends. We became friends. I was so lucky. I am so lucky. We had lunch every 3 months for many, many years, right by our studios right here. And I'll tell you, it was an emotional day for me today. I'm going to go see his family. We're over at 6:30, and but you can feel it in this newsroom today.
Yes, he
really
was
right?
an absolutely wonderful man, and I know how much, we know how much he meant to you, and it was a privilege to have the pleasure of hearing you talk about him and how much he meant, and you were there for them.
And when he sang Puff with my daughter when she was 7, well, it doesn't get much better than that.
Right. That
He
was
stood for so much.
A fitting tribute.
Thanks.
That's it for us today.